Hey guys, Sundown here. This is going to be my chapter review to Nanatsu no Taizai, or the Seven Deadly Sins 346, the finale, the last chapter, like that sky. The chapter in and of itself was okay. I didn't expect anything really much more than this. I don't really have much, there's not really much that actually goes down. It gives you an idea of of where things are going to go, and it doesn't really expand too much on anything much more besides that. It's been about 11-ish years since the last chapter from an in-series perspective, and not in reality, obviously. But so let's get down into it. I think I'm going to go page by page in this, just because really not much actually goes down. So the first double spread is just the sins over this really beautiful landscape, actually. If Nakaba's the guy who painted this, or who did the color work on this, it looks really good. I really like it. I don't like the fact that King's suit is actually green. It suits the fact that he's the fairy king, and that whole nature kind of vibe. It really does suit that. But I still don't like the look of his suit. You have Escanor being the only one on this like little jutting rock with sunshine, a beam of sunlight just focusing on him, kind of poetic in that sense, but also he's dead because of Merlin. So anyway, let's get down to the chapter. So the first thing we see is Prince Tristan, and I had an issue with this straight away. I was like, bitch, these people, I get it. Like, I get these anime tropes. Trust me, I've been reading manga, watching anime kind of for a very, very long time. But this trope of people what's it called? Is it called Dyschromia? Let me check it on. Refers to an alteration of the color of the skin, or hyperchromia. I don't know what it's called when you have different colored eyes. It is called something. I forgot what it's called, but Prince Tristan has different colored eyes. He has blue for Meliodas and green, I think, for Elizabeth, or is it the other way around? One of them has blue eyes, one of them has green eyes. I've forgotten which one's which. I get the feeling Meliodas might have had greenish eyes, now I think about it. But this is reflecting the fact that, he's half Meliodas, half Elizabeth, and where they're from in terms of goddess and demon. But I'm just like, okay, let's assume that he isn't just a genetic anomaly, which it does occur in humans as well, in the sense of, a totally normal person can have heterochromia. I think that's what it's called. Let me check. I apologize. You're going to see this all in the review because I can't be bothered to edit it. But yeah, heterochromia, that's the one. But the likelihood of that happening, and it just so happens to have happened to a kid who's kind of half of these two old races. I'm just like, even if you're genetically dissimilar, like the goddesses are and like the demons are, I assume, the likelihood of that happening is very low. So I focus on this way too much already. But his heterochromia, I was just like, really? It just seems to be a bit of a weird anime trope. Anyway, his outfit is also kind of... I wasn't really sure whether I liked it or not, to be fair. I mean, I'm focusing a lot on this opening panel, this opening page, but his outfit is a little bit weird, with the kind of long line shirt kind of thing. This guy's ahead of his time, but he's wearing shorts with it, which I thought was kind of weird, but it also pays into the fact that he's a kid. Anyway, the whole entirety of the beginning of this chapter is Prince Tristan running around the village, talking to these other little kids. It's nice to know that he's got friends in the village who are his age and stuff like that. But he's talking about how the legendary traders, the Seven Deadly Sins, are going to be gathering at the castle. He heard one of the maids saying so, and how his father and these Seven Deadly Sins are going to overthrow Lioness, and as the prince, and not just a prince, as a holy knight. So it seems to be quite apparent that he's influenced in some shape or form by holy knights. He wants to protect the peace of Lioness, and he thinks he has an obligation to do so. The kids don't really give a shit, obviously. So he goes back to the castle, where he's greeted by his mother, whose name is Elizabeth. She hugs him. She's like, "We were all looking for you," all that good shit. But then, like, this chapter is basically broken down into Tristan is going out trying to recruit people to help him against the Seven Deadly Sins. He goes back to the castle, where he finds out that the Seven Deadly Sins are actually here, and they greet him. he sees the seven deadly sins for what I assume is the first time, because the seven deadly sins react in a way which suggests this is the first time they've seen him. And he thinks they're all evil. He then goes on this mini kind of fight. It's nothing serious. He just has this like skirmish with his dad. Meliodas is obviously just one fingering him. Well, that's inappropriate wording, but he's just kind of pushing away all of his attacks. It's nothing really he can't handle, and especially because it doesn't really look to be a serious fight for either of them. It's not really too much for any of them, to be fair. And then it goes from that into Tristan understanding about the sins very quickly. Thank God Gowther was there. I mean, like, Gowther could have sat down and be like, yo, I can tell you a story about the seven deadly sins. That would have been a more poetic way for it to go out. Like, sit down with me, I'm gonna educate you, boy. That would have been cool. But he like, in typical Gowther fashion, he's like, bitch, you know what, we can shortcut this. You can download all of this information right now. So he just gives him like a whole terabytes worth of data. Probably ages the kid mentally by about 1 million years. I'm not sure if I would have done it that way. Like, I think in this situation, you'd rather teach the kid rather than allow him to download all of history in his brain, not even as a child be able to comprehend that, seeing life, seeing death, seeing everything in between, war, famine, disaster, all that shit. This guy's seen a lot, and he's 10 years old, and you're just like, really? You're gonna put all that in his head? So that's really the three main distinct parts of the chapter, but as we go through it, I'll talk about it. So Elizabeth is just like, she's surprised because Tristan's like, oh yeah, I've heard that Father and the sinners will be overthrowing the kingdom. Then you see all the sins there, apart from Escanor. And actually apart from Merlin, so it's actually only like 4 of the sins. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, including Meliodas. They're there, they greet Tristan. It seems to be the first time, like I said, because Diane's just like, oh my god, he looks just like the two of you. King here makes mention of the fact that he's not as cute as their own kid, so they've had a child as well. Gowther makes mention of the fact that Tristan actually has a very high combat class ability. Oh, he just has a very high combat class, which is instantly shown when Tristan jumps away from him and he leaps like 5 meters away. And I'm just like, as a kid, a 5 meter like single leg broad jump, goddamn. So Barnes also like entertained by the kid. So Tristan's just there saying, oh yeah, I've got the backing of Hendrickson, I've got the backing of Hauser. I'm gonna stop you guys from your coup d'etat. And then Meliodas plays along, acting like the villain, which shocks Tristan, but more so like he's like, I can't believe my father's a villain. Ban is kind of very what's the word? Very not excited, very what's the word? What's the goddamn word? He's amused by this. Anyway, we go into that little fight between Meliodas and Tristan, and you see how fleeting Tristan's kind of focus is. He's there saying like, fighting Meliodas about being a holy knight and stuff. Then Meliodas asks him, wait, you want to be a holy knight? They pause in their fight, and Tristan's like, yeah, because I can punish bad guys and stuff like that. So then they go outside. Apparently Tristan is completely unaware of anything to do with him. His grandfather, who Bartra looks old now, and Slater just walks in as if he didn't have an issue with Meliodas last chapter. I'm not sure if I misread that. But they go outside, there's fireworks, and as you could, I assumed it was going to be one of a few things, like maybe it was the anniversary of Meliodas and Meliodas and Elizabeth getting married. Maybe it was the anniversary of Lioness being free of demon control or some shit. Or it could just very well be Tristan's birthday. Turns out it's Tristan's birthday. Everyone's there in the village shouting happy birthday to him. We get this nice sparkly scene. Everyone's greeting the sins as well, having not seen them in a while. Turns out Ban is actually king. I'm not sure where he's king of, but I assume what's her name? Elaine is his queen. I assume they've also had their child. Their child isn't there, Lancelot, and neither is Elaine, to be fair. So I think Elaine is wherever she's supposed to be as the queen of, and she's taking care of Lancelot. Which is a bit unfortunate because it would have been cool to have seen a 10-year-old Lancelot. I assume he's around about the same age, if maybe a little bit older or younger. So he's either like 10 and a bit or he's 9 and a bit. One of the two. But it's here that first Tristan is reminded that, hey, by the way, it's your birthday. Good job. And he's also told by Ban, he's like, look, you seem to be convinced that your dad's a villain and a leader of this group of villains, the 7 deadly sins, but look at your dad and look at how the crowd, the villagers are reacting to him. Do you really think a villain would be like that? his Tristan then goes, I won't be fooled. You know, my dad, he's a big drinker. He touches mom up every day. Everyone just collapses behind him like, oh, okay, that's why he thinks he's a villain. Anyway, for his birthday, like I said, Gowther's like, okay, I'll give you a special present. I'll give you the true story of the sinners, called the 7 Deadly Sins. Tristan gets all of that downloaded into his head. You see a single tear roll down his face as he realizes the history of his mom, his dad, and the sins, possibly the death of Escanor, someone who, in his mind, when he's downloading all of this information, he probably had an attachment to, because he was probably looking at the story the same way we were. And then when he died, he's probably thinking in his head, yo, the heck, Merlin just killed Escanor and none of y'all are going to do anything about it. I'm hoping as the story of the story of Arthur expands, which I think it might, and we find out more about Tristan, I'm hoping he meets Merlin. He's like, bitch, I know what you did. You ain't deserve jack shit right now. She does deserve to be like whatever the form of public execution is there. She deserves it. I believe that. Either way, Meliodas talks to Tristan. He's like, it doesn't really matter what you want to be in the future, whether you want to be the king, whether you want to be the Holy Knight. That's up for you to choose. You're not pigeonholed into one area. Tristan's like, I've already decided I want to be one of the 7 deadly sins, which I'm not sure why we ended like that, because he's not really going to be a sin. He's going to be one of the Knights of the Round Table for show. Like, that's the way this mythology goes. So that was the end of the chapter. I'm not sure how I've spoken 12 minutes about this so far. But yeah, that was the end of the chapter. I'm hoping we can set up something with Grieva, possibly a few of the other guys, like Naya, maybe even a few of the other guys, Kishin, and possibly do like an entire review of the series, which I haven't reread, but I'd like to do that. So I'm hoping something like that happens in the near future. But otherwise, this chapter was it wasn't very impressive. It wasn't really it wasn't gonna be impressive. It wasn't dull. It wasn't horrifying. It was just kind of like okay, cool. The chapter kind of ended on a relatively positive note. We got to see a little bit more about Tristan. So that's about it, really. I mean, what more is there to say? I enjoyed the series as a whole. I think this last set of a good probably 50 to 100 chapters has just been, a pile of steaming turd on the overall epicness of the manga. The manga itself, for the first, I think 2/3, maybe a little bit less than that. I'm not too sure where the cutoff point occurs, but the manga itself has been amazing. It has been absolutely amazing until, like I said, the most recent arc and recent storylines and stuff like that. So yeah, just I suppose a thank you to Nakaba. This is only the second series on my channel which is finished as I've been reviewing it on a weekly basis. So I think the first was Fairy Tail. Whoa! So we have two in the same bracket there, Fairy Tail and Taizai already. But yeah, I don't think I ever got to review Naruto or Bleach while I was active on this channel. No, I don't think I ever reviewed those, which is unfortunate. But let me know what you guys thought of this review. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Let me know what you guys thought of this series, like I have just told you. And that's about it. I think I'll see you guys in a bit, but not again, unless I'm doing a group Taizai review. This is the last single Taizai review you'll see me do. So, peace out, and see you guys in a bit.